Today we are going to discuss about the cooperative banks in India. We know that among the scheduled banks, cooperative bank occupies an important role in the economic development as well as the bank sector development of India. Their structure, objective, functions, and some of the problems faced by the cooperative banks are discussed in this section. Cooperative bank is a financial entity that belongs to the members of the bank. Members are the owners as well as the customers of the bank. That is, a cooperative bank is a financial entity that are formed or formulated by the members of a group of members. And these members are the owners as well as the customers of the bank. It is established by the people of the same local or professional community having a common set of interest. That is, these are formulated by the people of the same local or professional community who have the same set of interest. The purpose of this bank is the upliftment of financially weaker section of the society. That is the major objective of cooperative banks in India. It also aims at eliminating money lenders who usually charges high rate of interest for the loans. And the basic principle of this bank is cooperation, mutual help, democratic decision making, and open membership. These are the basic principles of cooperative banking, that is, cooperation, mutual help, democratic decision making, and open membership. Cooperative bank was the idea of Hermann Schultz and Frederick William Raffenson. This is the basics of cooperative bank, that is, it is formulated by a group of members who have the same interest, and it is mainly for the upliftment of weaker section also of the society, and it is functioning under the principle of cooperation, mutual help, democratic decision making, and open membership. And the idea was framed out by Hermann Schultz and Frederick William Raffenson. Cooperative banks in India are registered under the Cooperative Societies Act of 1912. It is regulated by the Reserve Bank of India and National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, commonly known as NABARD. These are the two regulating authority of cooperative banks. It is also governed by the Banking Regulation Act 1949 and Banking Law Cooperative Societies Act of 1955. These are the regulatory framework for cooperative banks in India. The Cooperative Credit Societies Act 1904 led to the formation of credit societies in both rural and urban area. On the recommendation of Frederick Nicholson 1899 and Sir Edward Law of 1901. Their ideas in turn were based on the pattern of Raffenson and Schultz that we have already mentioned. That means the cooperative societies were formulated under the Cooperative Societies Act 1904, which led to the formation of cooperative credit societies in both rural and urban area. The Cooperative Societies Act of 1912 gave the recognition to the formation of non-credit societies and central cooperative organizations. That is, the recognition for the non-credit societies and central cooperative organization was done as per the Cooperative Societies Act of 1912. Later on, McLagan Committee in 1950 highlighted the deficiencies of the cooperative societies. Later, McLagan Committee in 1915 highlighted deficiencies of cooperative society. He also laid down the importance of central assistance by the government to support the movement. The Royal Commission on Agriculture 1928 enumerated the importance of education of members and staff for the effective implementation of cooperative movement. Another Development was by the Saraiya Committee in 1945, who recommended the setting up of cooperative training college in every state and a cooperative training institute for advanced study and research at the central level. Then another committee known as Central Committee for Cooperative Training in 1953 was constituted by RBI for establishing regional training centers. Rural Credit Survey Committee of 1954 was the first committee who looked into the problems of rural credit and other financial issues of rural society. These are some of the committees and acts which are related to the cooperative movements or cooperative banks in India. That is first one, Cooperative Credit Societies Act 1904, formation of credit societies. It was on the recommendation of Frederick Nicholson and Edward Lowe. It was on their idea was also on the basis of the Raphaelson and Schultz. Then another act, that is Cooperative Societies Act of 1912, it gave the recognition to the formation of non-credit societies and central cooperative organization. Then another committee, namely McLagan Committee in 1915, highlighted deficiency of cooperative societies. And the Royal Commission on Agriculture 1928 enumerated the importance of education in the cooperative sector. Saraiya Committee 1945 recommended the setting up of training colleges as well as the training institute and research centers for the cooperative sector. Then Central Committee for Cooperative Training in 1953, constituted by RBI, led to the establishment of Regional Training Center. Rural Credit Survey Committee of 1954 was the first committee who looked into the problems of rural credit and other financial issues of rural society. These are some of the development that happened in the cooperative bank sector in India. The structure of cooperative banks, cooperative credit institution in India is given here. That is, credit cooperatives are divided into urban cooperative banks and rural cooperative banks. Then it is urban cooperative banks are divided into scheduled urban cooperative bank and non-scheduled urban cooperative bank. Scheduled urban cooperative banks are divided into multi-state and single state. This non-scheduled banks are also divided into multi-state and single state. Then rural cooperative societies are divided into, in terms of short-term fundings, the state level, district level and primary agriculture, long term as State Cooperative Agriculture and Rural Development, Primary Credit and Agriculture and Rural Development Bank, PCARDS. These are the structure of cooperative banks in India. That is, cooperative banks are divided into urban cooperative, rural, urban into scheduled, non-scheduled, then rural into short-term institution and long-term, state and district and the primary credit comes under the short-term provision, and long-term provision comes under the institution that comes under the long-term credit provisioning institutes are SAARDBS and PCARDBS. This is the structure of cooperative banks in the structure of cooperative network in India can be divided into, as we have seen, into two broad categories: urban cooperative banks and rural cooperative bank. And urban cooperative banks are divided into scheduled and non-scheduled banks. Both categories are further divided into multi-state and single state, and majority of these banks falls in the non-scheduled and single category. Banking activities of the urban cooperative banks are monitored by the RBI. Registration and management activities are managed by the Registrar of Cooperative Societies. This Registrar of Cooperative Societies operate in single state and central. Registrar of Cooperative Society operates in multi-states. This is the controlling authority of the scheduled banks or the urban cooperative banks in India. These are the controlling mechanism of cooperative banks in India. Then rural cooperative banks are divided into short-term and long-term institutions. The short-term cooperative banks are three-tiered, operating in different states, that is central cooperative bank, district cooperative banks, and the primary agricultural cooperative bank. And the long-term structures are further divided into state cooperative agricultural and rural development bank, And these operate at the state level. Primary Cooperative Agriculture and Rural Development Bank, they operate at the district or the block level. All banking activities are regulated by a shared management between the RBI and NABARD. This is the structure of cooperative banks in India. Major objectives of cooperative banks in India are given in this section. That is, major objectives are to provide rural financing as well as microfinancing. This is the most important objective of cooperative bank, that is provision of financing to the rural and micro sections. And second one is provide credit to the weaker sections of the society at a comparatively lower rate of interest. Another important objective of this cooperative institution or cooperative banks are to provide credit to the weaker section at a lower rate of interest. Third one is remove money lenders and middlemen in the financial sectors. This is the third important. This is also very important in the sense that they usually charge us very high rate of interest for the loans they usually provide. Fourth one is provide basic banking services to the members of cooperative societies. This is the another important objective of this, formulated by a group of members, and the objective is to provide basic services to the members of the cooperative societies. Next important objective is the financial support to support it to the small scale industries, housing, financial institutions, etc. And another objective is promote the development of rural area, or the rural development is the ultimate objective of cooperative banks in India. These are the objectives of cooperative bank, that is rural financing for micro unit, weaker section at lower rate of interest, remove the money lenders and middlemen, provide basic banking services to the members, provide financial support to the small scale units, housing, financial institutions, and thereby the overall development of rural areas are the important objectives of cooperative banks in India. The characteristics or the features of cooperative banks are, first one, they are customer owned entities, that we have already seen that they are formulated by a group of members who have the same taste or the objective or the interest. The members of these banks are the owners as well as the customers of the bank, and the aim of this bank is not profit but to provide the best possible services to the members, that is, they are customer owned entities. Second feature is that democratic control, that is, cooperative banks are owned and controlled by the members. Members are democratically elected to the board of directors, and they follow the basic principles of this bank is one man one vote. That is, the democratic control is the another important, or we can see the democratic form of control in the cooperative banking sector. Third feature is the profit allocation. A specified portion of profits are transferred to the various reserves. High rate of interest is paid on the capital subscribed by the members, and part of the profit is also distributed to the members of the society. Another one feature is inclusion of rural masses. This is another important feature of the cooperative, that is, rural masses are the major members of this or the beneficiaries of this cooperative bank. That is, the features are they are customer owned, there will be democratic control, there will be profit allocation, and it incorporates the rural masses. Important functions of the cooperative banks are given in this section. Important functions are provide financial assistance to the people. Second one, supervise affiliated societies. Third objective is, or the function is, rural financing, and it also has the function of urban financing. We have urban cooperative societies also. Another function is it mobilizes funds and provides higher rate of interest on the invested capital. These are the important functions of cooperative bank, that is financial assistance to the people, especially rural and weaker section, and supervise the affiliated societies. That we have central, district, and primary credit It supervises the institution that comes below that. Then rural financing, urban financing, and mobilization of funds, thereby improving the saving habits, capital formation, and they also provides high rate of interest on the invested capital. The structure of cooperative banks in accordance with the asset value is given here. That is here we could see that the cooperative banks are divided into urban cooperative banks and rural cooperative banks. Among the cooperative banks, 64.7% of the assets are held by the rural cooperative banks and 35.3 by the urban. That is, the majority of the assets are in the rural area. Among the urban cooperative banks, 53% are owned by the non-scheduled banks and 47 by the scheduled urban cooperative banks. Among the rural cooperative banks, majority are of the assets are owned by the district cooperative bank, nearly 50.9, and the rest state cooperative bank 22, and the primary cooperative banks by the 23.6. Among the long-term, these are the short-term institutions, and among the long-term state cooperative agriculture rural development banks occupy 31%, 1.5 in the rural cooperative, and this is the number 13, and 601 are the numbers of the societies. Here the share or the asset share is 1.5 and 2 respectively. This is the asset structure or the asset holdings of the cooperative banks as on the 2009. Here some of the administrative or the regulatory mechanisms are given. The urban cooperative banks and among the rural cooperative banks, urban cooperative banks and among the rural cooperative bank, the state cooperative bank, district cooperative banks are registered under the Cooperative Societies Act of State concerned under the Multi-State Cooperative Societies Act of 2002. That is, in this structure, urban cooperative bank, state cooperative bank, district cooperative banks, etc. are registered under the Cooperative Societies Act of State under the Multi-State Cooperative Societies Act of 2002. Banking laws were made available to the cooperative societies since March 1966. Currently, we have dual control over state cooperative bank, district cooperative, urban cooperative between the registrar of cooperative societies and the registrar or the central registrar of cooperative society and the Reserve Bank of India. That is, there will be a control of state, district and urban cooperative by the two authorities, registrar of cooperative society or central registrar of cooperative society and the Reserve Bank. These two authorities controls the state, district and urban cooperative banks. The mandates of registrar of cooperative society or central registrar of cooperative societies encompass the incorporation, registration, management, recovery, audits, supersession of board directors and liquidation. RBI is interested with, or RBI is invested with the regulatory functions. That is, the role of registrar of cooperative society or central registrar of cooperative society are the incorporation, registration, management, recovery, audit, supersession of board of directors and liquidation. Reserve Bank has the function of regulating the functions. Reserve Bank is also interested with the responsible supervision of the urban cooperative banks also. According to the prudential norms for capital adequacy, income recognition, asset classification, provisioning, liquidity requirements, and single group exposure norms, they have to. That is, RBI has to follow. This cooperative banks has to follow the prudential norms of capital adequacy, income recognition, classification, provision, liquidity management, etc. In addition, it also helps in capacity building of employees and assist in the implementation of IT infrastructure in urban cooperative banks. That is, the regulation, the functions of these banks or urban cooperative banks are done by the Reserve Bank of India, and they have to follow the prudential norms of the Reserve Bank of India. The primary agriculture credit societies and long-term cooperatives are outside the purview of the Banking Regulation Act. The NABARD has been given the power, the Section 35(6) of the Banking Regulation Act, to conduct the inspection of the state cooperative and district. That is, NABARD also has a power to inspect the state cooperative and district cooperative bank. They also the NABARD also inspect the State Cooperative Agriculture and Rural SCARDB. Also, these are the some of the regulatory mechanisms of the urban cooperative banks and the rural cooperative banks in India. That is, here the point is that urban cooperative banks, rural the societies that comes under the rural cooperatives like state and district cooperative banks are registered under the Cooperative Society Act of the state, that is Multi-State Cooperative Act of 2002. Banking regulations were made available since 1966, and there will be duality of control over the state, district and urban cooperative banks by the registrar as well as the RBI. They have to follow the RBI prudential norms, and the NABARD also has control over they also inspect the cooperative banks under the Section 35(6) of the Banking Regulation Act, and NABARD also has the power to inspect the State Cooperative Agriculture and Rural Development Cooperative Bank also. The functions of primary agriculture credit societies are given here. That is, primary agricultural credit societies occupies an important place in the cooperative structure, and their functions are given as follows: associate itself with the programs of production. That is, some of the important functions of primary agriculture credit societies are associate with the programs of production. Second one, to lend adequate amount to the members for their agriculture and consumption purpose. Third one is to borrow adequate funds from the central financial agencies for helping the members adequately for the purposes like the agriculture and consumption purposes. Attract local saving for share capital and fixed capital. Supervise the use of loans, especially medium-term loans. Third one, distribute the fertilizer, seeds, insecticides, agriculture implements, etc. Seventh one is supply certain consumer goods in common demand such as kerosene, sugar, etc. Another important function of primary agriculture credit society is that store the produce of the members till it is sold. The next one is to collect or purchase produce wherever necessary on behalf of consumer societies, marketing societies, or government. The another important function of primary agriculture credit societies associate itself with the programs of economic and social welfare of the village. These are some of the important functions of primary agriculture credit societies. That is, their main objective or function is the help in the rural development and provision of rural development, provision of financing for agriculture and consumption purpose, attract saving, then supervision of loans, distribution of fertilizer, seeds, insecticides, agricultural implements, supply consumer goods of common interest, then procurement of the products produces by the produces in that local area, etc. These are the important functions of primary agricultural credit societies. Comparison of commercial banks and cooperative banks are given here. Commercial banks are joint stock banks, whereas cooperative banks are cooperative organizations. They are formulated by a group of members who have common interest. Commercial banks are governed by the Banking Regulation and cooperative banks are governed by the Cooperative Societies Act of 1904. Then commercial banks are subject to the control of Reserve Bank of India directly. Cooperative banks are subject to the rules laid down by the Registrar of Cooperative Societies as well as the Reserve Bank of India. Cooperative banks have lesser scope in offering a variety of banking services than that is, their scopes are comparatively lower or lesser compared to the commercial banks. Commercial banks in India are larger in number and they have adopted the system of branch banking. Therefore, they works in the country as a whole. Cooperative banks are relatively small in number. Many cooperative banks follow the unit banking system, though there are cooperative banks with a number of branches, but their coverage is not country-wide. That is, in India, commercial banks follows the branch banking system, whereas cooperative banks mainly follows the unit bank system, though they have branches, their coverage is not the country-wide. Commercial banks in India are of two types, public sector banks and private sector banks. Then cooperative banks are divided into urban cooperative banks and rural cooperative banks. Commercial banks mostly provide short-term finance to the industry, trade and commerce, including priority sectors like export, etc. Cooperative bank usually provides the credit needs of the agriculturist. Cooperative banks offer a slightly higher rate of interest to their depositors than the commercial banks. These are some of the important differences between the commercial or the comparison of commercial banks and the cooperative banks. That is, commercial banks are joint stock banks, then cooperative banks are cooperative organizations. The regulation, commercial banks are regulated by the Bank Regulation Act, cooperative banks are by the Cooperative Societies Act, commercial banks are subject to the control by RBI directly, whereas cooperative banks are controlled indirectly. They have lesser scope compared to the commercial banks. Commercial banks have larger scale of operation than the cooperative banks. Commercial banks are divided into public and private sector banks, or cooperative banks into urban cooperative and rural cooperative banks. Mostly commercial banks provide short-term financing. Cooperative bank usually provides credit needs to the agriculturist. Cooperative banks usually offer higher rate of interest than the commercial banks to the deposits. Then another one is, in the cooperative bank, borrowers are the member shareholders, so they have some influence on the lending policy of the bank on account of the voting power. Borrowers of the commercial banks are only the account holders and they have no voting power as such, so they cannot have any influence on the lending policy. That is, in the case of the cooperative banks, the lending policies can be influenced by the members who are the owners of the banks, whereas in the case of the commercial banks, the customers are only the account holders and they have no voting power also. Cooperative banks have not much scope of flexibility on account of the rigidity of the bylaws of the cooperative society. They have commercial banks, on the other hand, are free from such rigidities. These are the comparison of commercial banks and what the major differences between the commercial banks and the cooperative banks. Advantages of cooperative banks are, first one, it is very easy to form. That is, a group of members can formulate the cooperative societies or cooperative banks. It is an alternative credit source to the rural, especially to the rural area. They provide cheaper credit to the members of the, especially members in the rural area. Their focus is on the agriculture sector, therefore its advantage is that they helps in the advancement of in farming sector. It encourages the saving habits and invest their money because cooperative banks usually provides a higher rate of interest for the deposits than the commercial banks. Problems faced by the Indian cooperative banks are given here. One of the important problems faced by the Indian cooperative bank is the small capital base. That is, cooperative banks starts with a small capital base, and therefore there will be the problems of working capital. Second one is political interference. That is, they are formulated by a group of people who have same political, or the group of people in the village, and there will be some conflict between the various political ideologies of the members. There will be supervision of RBI. This also creates a conflicting interest. This also creates some problems in their functioning. Dual control, that is, the cooperative banks are controlled by the Reserve Bank of India as well as concerned state government and the registrar of cooperative societies. Professional management and technological advancements are comparatively less in the case of the cooperative bank. They mainly depends upon the RBI, NABARD and government for their financial requirements, since their capital base is very less. They also faces the problem of overdue loans. Another important problem faced by the cooperative bank is the uneven progress. That is, the progress is not a balanced one in the case of the different types of the cooperative banks. Second one, misuse of loans. In some places, the misuse of loans also happens. Inadequate deposits, even though they are providing higher rate of interest, the deposits are that usually the deposits of these banks are comparatively low. Then credit facilities provided them are not adequate. Sometimes it is not cheap also. Untimely credit releases, that is, they are not releasing the credit at the time they are not releasing the credit at the proper time. Now, another important criticism against the cooperative banks are it is economically non viable. That is, economically, due to these reasons, it is usually commented that cooperative societies are not function in a viable manner. These are some of the important problems faced by the cooperative banks in India. The major problems are like their capital base is low, very low, and they are controlled by the RBI and the concerned state government. They have the problem of overdue. Their provision of loan is untimely. Sometimes it is they charge us higher rate of interest. The deposits available, or they have inadequate deposits, etc. Sometimes there will be misuse of loans, political interference, etc. are some of the important problems faced by the cooperative banks in India. Therefore, in this section we have examined the structure of cooperative banks in India, their objectives, some of the important objectives, especially their objective is the rural financing or the helping the weaker section of the society, their functions, then the problems, advantages, etc.